As I sit in my grand study, the walls adorned with family portraits, intricate tapestries, and artifacts that whisper tales of generations past, I am struck by the profound and often concealed cost of wealth. The rich scent of aged leather mingles with the polished mahogany of the sumptuous furniture, enveloping me in a warm embrace, one that commands a reverence for the legacy I have painstakingly constructed over the decades. Above me, a diamond chandelier sparkles brilliantly, casting shimmering reflections across the opulent space, illuminating precious creations acquired through years spent navigating the labyrinth of power, influence, and unrelenting ambition. My empire, valued at an astonishing $10 billion, stands not only as a testament to my unyielding dedication, but also as an indelible reminder of the sacrifices made along the way. Each investment made, each acquisition pursued, lovingly crafted into the intricate tapestry of my life. Yet with all this wealth and influence, I find myself confronting an ominous truth. My hard-won legacy, a mosaic woven from ambition, sacrifice, and now betrayal, hangs by a fragile thread. As I reflect on my life, the foundation upon which I built my fortune feels increasingly unstable. This instability does not merely exist outside of me. It festers within my own family, where tensions simmer violently just beneath the calm surface. Trust, once the cornerstone of our relationships, has morphed into a mere fragile thread, strained taut and ready to snap under the weight of unspoken grievances and hidden resentments. My daughter, Amelia, who was once the embodiment of my hopes and dreams, has transformed into a figure I hardly recognize. I once envisioned her as my child, my heir, the torchbearer of our legacy, adorned with pride and devotion, continuing to weave our family history into the sunlight of future generations. The same little girl who used to glow with joy during our summer escapades at our luxurious estate in the Hamptons now appears lost, her intentions cloaked in shadows, as murky and unpredictable as the depths of the lake nestled just beyond our manicured lawn. In a moment of what I believed to be deep trust, I chose to expose my heart to Amelia, sharing my vision. A meticulously detailed strategic plan aimed at expanding our business holdings by a staggering $500 million. I thought this invaluable insight, born from decades of relentless pursuit for greatness, would resonate deeply with her aspirations. Instead, I was blindsided when she chose to take my words and twist them into a weapon, trading my heartfelt counsel as if it were mere currency. A bargaining chip in a game I never consented to play. The gut-wrenching possibility that my own flesh and blood might exploit my trust for her personal gain sent shivers down my spine, an unfathomable betrayal that gnawed at my conscience day and night. Then came that fateful day when everything I held dear unraveled before my very eyes. A call from my longtime banker, Jonathan, a venerable man with unwavering loyalty who had stood by my family through the thickest and thinnest of times, delivered devastating news that shattered the world I had built over decades. He informed me, his voice heavy with sadness, that Amelia had transferred $120 million from my personal trust into an offshore account, effectively siphoning my lifeblood and depleting the very essence of my being. The weight of betrayal bore down on my chest like a leaden cloak. I could scarcely breathe as the stark reality sank in, constricting my heart and mind. Jonathan then sent me a document that confirmed her treachery. A signed transfer authorization emblazoned with her name, a mark of cold betrayal, conspicuous and glaring against our family's history. In an instant, the luxurious life I had constructed, filled with philanthropy, prestige, and power, felt like nothing more than an elaborate facade, an unsustainable illusion glimmering in the light. Each grand estate, every priceless piece of art, a meticulously curated collection representing my measured achievements, began to fade into insignificance when weighed against the true worth of loyalty and familial bonds. All of my accomplishments, my life's work, crumbled to dust before me, rendered utterly meaningless in the face of such profound betrayal. Loneliness enveloped me, wrapping around me tightly like a shroud, for I could no longer retreat behind the splendid walls of material success I had so carefully erected. I learned, in the most painful way possible, that trust is a delicate veneer, one that can shatter in an instant, exposing the raw vulnerability beneath. Family gatherings morphed into a series of silent battles, annual events fraught with unexpressed grievances. At our opulent estate in Aspen, surrounded by the glitzy glamour of high society, the air crackled with an oppressive tension. I watched Amelia from across the finely set dinner table, her smile nothing more than a hollow mask, devoid of warmth or genuine affection. We were both performing in a finely scripted tragedy, each acutely aware of the frailty that lay beneath the surface of our crafted personas, fighting to hide the storm within. While she reveled in the lavish surroundings, I felt increasingly archaic and disconnected, like a ghost, haunting the very empire I had constructed. Then came the moment I had both dreaded and foreseen for far too long: the public revelation of Amelia's actions at an elite charity gala attended by the city's most influential figures and tastemakers. During what was supposed to be a night of celebration and generosity, a financial document inadvertently slipped from my grasp and landed in the curious hands of a stranger. As they began reading the details aloud, revealing Amelia's treachery for all to hear, gasps rippled throughout the room, dislodging the atmosphere like a shocking thunderclap echoing around us. The ambiance shifted dramatically, palpable disbelief resonating like an ominous storm rolling in on a clear summer day, leaving me feeling exposed, vulnerable, a mere shell of my former self, stripped of the protective armor that my wealth had once afforded me. Amelia stood nearby, a smug smirk playing at the corners of her lips as she savored the spectacle I had wished, desperately to keep buried deep within the confines of our family's secrets. My so-called friends became nothing more than spectators, their eyes glued to the unfolding drama of my life, eyes filled with true fascination. The unsettling mixture of sympathy and morbid curiosity in their gazes felt like cold knives plunged straight into my heart, as if I had suddenly become the main character in a cruel performance where the audience clamored for my downfall. What I once believed would solidify Amelia's understanding of responsibility instead laid bare her darker nature, illuminating traits I had been too blind to acknowledge for far too long. I couldn't help but wonder, was it entitlement? Was it pure greed? I had always held the naive belief that wealth endowed wisdom and perspective, that with great power came even greater responsibility. But now I was painfully aware of my own naivete as it snaked its way around my heart. In that moment, as I gazed out at the extravagant party, where laughter mingled with the crisp air, caressing the atmosphere like a gentle balm, I felt the sharp sting of clarity pierce through the haze of denial that had enveloped my mind for so long. The grand lesson wrapped within this chaos became profoundly evident. Wealth does not inherently grant control. Rather, it magnifies our vulnerabilities, unveiling our deepest fears and failures. I had dedicated decades to building a financial fortress meant to shield and protect my family. Yet it was the emotional foundation, an irreplaceable core of love and trust in our relationships that crumbled beneath the unforgiving weight of betrayal. Turning my back on the soaring opulence of the gala, an immense burden pressed against my chest, tethering me to the harsh realities I could no longer ignore. As I scanned the room, where laughter echoed against glistening crystal walls, a stark realization washed over me. True. Legacies are not constructed on the bedrock of wealth alone. They are enriched by moments of understanding, compassion, genuine love, and, above all, trust. My empire, glorious as it appears, now stands vulnerable against relentless forces clawing at its roots, forces of greed, betrayal, and personal ambition working tirelessly to redefine the very essence of our shared family history. In the aftermath of that brutal experience, I found myself spiraling into a deep well of introspection, contemplating the values and principles that had guided my life for so long. My mind drifted back to early mornings spent in board meetings, negotiating multi-million-dollar deals, and late nights in my office, poring over market reports with laser focus. I had always believed my relentless hard work was laying the foundation for a safe and prosperous future for my family. Yet now, the painful truth dawned on me. The fragility of our familial connections was a reality I had underestimated all along. The steadfast values I championed in my professional life felt obscured and unmoored amidst the turbulence of my personal existence. As the days melted into weeks, I began to reevaluate what truly mattered to me, seeking to distill my priorities down to their very essence. Family is not merely a collection of shared names or lines of blood. It is fostered through mutual respect, understanding, unwavering loyalty, and deep connections. With this newfound clarity, I became determined to rekindle connections, nurturing the fragile bonds I had allowed to fray. I longed not just to reach out to Amelia, but to rediscover the depths of my true self in the process. So, I extended an invitation to her to visit our family estate, yearning for a heartfelt conversation, a chance for us to lay bare our unspoken truths against the backdrop of our intertwined histories. On that day, as we sipped tea in my vibrant spring garden, surrounded by flowers blossoming in a riot of colors and fragrances, I let my vulnerability seep into the words I spoke. I shared with her the countless times I had lost sight of the true essence of family in my unrelenting pursuit of wealth and recognition. The cherished memories of her childhood, laughter-filled afternoons, shared lessons, and those tender early mornings we spent together painted a warm contrast to the frigid atmosphere of bitterness that had enveloped us for so long. I yearned to impart more than just the weight of material wealth. I craved for her to inherit the true values of integrity, responsibility, and the vital lessons learned from the crucibles of our triumphs and failures. My legacy is a living entity, one that transcends mere dollars. It resides in the moments we create, the relationships we nurture, and the steadfast commitments we uphold through thick and thin. We are more than just a sum total of our possessions. We are intricately defined by the bonds we forge, the unwavering love we share, and the wisdom gleaned from our struggles. As I gaze into the horizon of the future, I realize that my true wealth lies not in gold or accolades, but in the relationships cultivated and strengthened over the years. I make the conscious choice to share my truth, for it is time to rewrite the narrative of my life, one deeply rooted in authenticity, compassion, and understanding. We must continually ponder, in the vast tapestry of life, are we trading the essence of our legacy for mere expediency and fleeting moments of currency? What will you choose to pass on to the next generation and beyond? The choices we make today shape not just our individual legacies, but the intricate lineage we leave behind for those who come after us. My journey as an empire builder continues, but now it is deeply anchored in something far more significant than the mere pursuit of finance. It is about nurturing the bonds that truly matter, the intangible wealth of family, love, and shared experiences that ultimately define who we are. This is my story, a reflection of ambition marred with betrayal, and ultimately a realization fueled by love, hope, and the enduring connections that bind us all. As I navigate whatever comes next, I carry within me the lessons learned the hard way, ready to embrace a future where my legacy will be defined by far more than wealth, but by the unbreakable ties that bind us together.